Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to the virtual college exploration for all North and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers, CACRAO, and StriveScan. Just a couple of quick things before we get started. First off, how do you ask questions? So you have a Q&A button on your screen that you can use to ask questions at any point. Your camera and microphone are off, so our presenter cannot see or hear you, but again, you do have access to that Q&A button. You can also sign up for more sessions at cacrao.org. That's CACRAO.org. They're happening this week and next. And this recording will be available on that same website in about a week. Again, cacrao.org, CACRAO.org. So if you'd like to come back to it, or if you have any friends who were not able to attend live today, you can go ahead and direct them to that site. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our presenter.
Thank you so much. I'm going to be sharing my screen now. That way we can go ahead and get started. But first of all, thank you so much for coming. My name is Sabrina, and I am one of the transfer counselors here at Charleston Southern University. So happy to have you. And with CSU, we're actually, of course, right in the middle of Charleston. We're not too far from downtown or the beach, just to kind of give you an idea of where we're located. But just a few quick facts about CSU. So one, we are an NCAA Division I school. So if you are interested in being an athlete here, please don't hesitate to reach out to our coaches. We do have transfer students that will sometimes be walk-ons. And so, of course, per guidelines, we always encourage our students to speak with coaches about coming to play. We have over 60 degree programs for students to choose from in our undergrad program, and a few of them are also online. So if you ever have questions about that, please don't hesitate to let us know. We do have a small student to faculty ratio. It's about 12-1. And of course, per COVID, we are having arrangements made where students who may feel more comfortable doing a hybrid program, meaning some of their classes being online and some on campus, we can absolutely navigate those directions. Just let your enrollment counselor know. Also, we have 41 states represented, as well as 21 countries and over 50 clubs and organizations. So it is pretty easy to get involved on campus. Students who are wondering what community will look like, especially if they're transferring to a new place, there's always a way for you to get connected here on campus. So something that we like to talk about is actually our passport to purpose. So you can see here we have passion, pathway, potential, and purpose. For our CSU transfer students, a lot of times we do the passion and pathway portion really in your enrollment journey. So if ever you're having questions about how our credits are going to transfer, or feasibly speaking with financial aid, what is that going to look like? We really try to focus in all of those aspects when you're coming through your admissions process here. That way you can maximize your potential once you get to campus, and by the time you graduate, you'll already have your purpose and you'll know logistically how to make that happen once you leave. So a few of our top 5 programs here are College of Nursing, Business, Education, Kinesiology, and Biology. So specifically with our College of Nursing, we have both a traditional and accelerated program for it. So students who are interested in doing the accelerated program, they will actually both apply to the school and to the program when they're entering into their admissions process. And anytime students are interested in that, you can always just let your enrollment counselor know, and we can walk you through those processes. Otherwise, no matter what your program is, you can always just let us know, and we'll be happy to work with you in terms of what credits will look like, how they'll transfer, and we're always available to do an unofficial evaluation for our students to see where they are in the program and how long it will take them to finish. Here is just a quick slide about all of our majors. I'll leave this up briefly, but if you don't necessarily know what you want to major in, but you, let's say, have all of your gen ed classes finished, that's perfectly fine because we are a liberal arts school. You'll actually most likely have almost all of your liberal arts core done, which is awesome. That way, when you get here, you can really kind of focus in on your major specific courses. And anytime that you want to visit campus, meet with a professor to discuss all of those things, just let us know and we can set up a personal visit for you. So when at CSU, we really like to say that we prepare our servant leaders to pursue significant lives. And that looks like not only our undergraduate program with our bachelor's degrees, but also master's and our doctoral programs that are coming soon for physical therapy. So a fun fact actually about me, I am also a grad student here. So I joined CSU on staff to work in undergraduate enrollment, but I also wanted to pursue my degree for a master's of science. And I think it's pretty cool that we get both ends of that perspective when it comes to enrolling at CSU. I get to kind of walk through myself what I'm leading my students through. And so I really can attest to our school really trying to prepare our students as best as you can in whatever program that you're going for, especially because we have such small class sizes, not only in our graduate, but also our undergraduate programs. Our professors are always available whenever you have questions. Sometimes they'll even give you their email or personal number. So it's definitely easy to kind of navigate that. So something that's really important as well about CSU that you should know is that we are a Christian school as well. So we're very kingdom-minded. Anytime that students come here, they do not have to be a Christian at all when they come to CSU. But for those who are or are interested and are seeking, we have space here to judgment-free navigate all of that with your peers and your professors as well. We want to make sure that we're sharing the gospel as best as we can and as frequently as we can, while also still allowing space for students to ask all the questions that they might have. And if you're looking at mission opportunities or specific clubs to kind of hone in those experiences when it comes to your faith journey, we have all of that set up here as well. So I briefly mentioned this before, but a little deep dive into campus life. If you're not necessarily wanting to do NCAA sports, you can always find an intramural sport that you might be interested in to play. We have campus ministries, over 50 clubs and organizations, like I mentioned earlier, including fraternities and sororities, study abroad opportunities, and internship opportunities. Now for internships, we do require our students to do at least one depending on their program. And there are so many opportunities to speak with our student center as well as your professors to ask more about those internship opportunities. Also, if you're interested in Army or Air Force ROTC programs, we do have those as well. And we have local chapters in the Charleston area. So anytime students are interested in that, we have great contact information on our website that they can go to. And finally, of course, we are also a teaching fellows institution. So if you're in education and you're interested in that, let your enrollment counselor know. That way we can walk you through those processes. So finally, we are at steps to enrollment. First is visiting campus. We really do encourage students to do that. We have a safe way to do so during COVID precautions. Anytime students are wanting to visit a professor as well, you can go online and click the visit tab and set up a personal visit anytime that you want during the week. If you're not available during the week, we also have first look and Saturday session events on the weekends. That way, if you're not available during the week, you can still get that experience of talking to an enrollment counselor, asking your questions, and seeing our campus. Then you'll want to apply, which is completely free, and then submit required documentation and apply for financial aid. So that's a brief link to our online application. And the transfer requirements are a minimum 2.0 GPA, 24 transferable credits, and a college level math and English. So we do ask that our students have these requirements, and we can look at your transcripts from all of your previous or current institutions. And please note that we will need a copy from every institution you've gone to. So even if you've just completed one course somewhere else, we will need that so that we can transfer those credits as best we can to your new CSU transcript. And of course, please do not worry. If you don't have one of those requirements, we can look to high school information to make a decision. And it can be provisional, especially in the mid of your semester. If you don't have midterm or final grades, that's totally fine. We are able to use unofficial copies of your transcripts to make those revisional decisions, but eventually at the end of the semester, we'll need a final copy. So, types of aid. At CSU, we do stack our scholarships, so it'll go from the institutional level to state and federal and any other outside or external scholarships and loans. So for here this year, you'll see that our tuition was $27,800 for the year. That's books included, and that really does break down to $13,900 per semester since we bill students by semester. Once you apply to CSU, we do pre-award all of our transfers a merit-based aid for institutional aid. So as a free scholarship that you don't even need to apply for, we will pre-award that to you based on your transcript and your GPA. From there, if you have any state aid, meaning life or hope, we are able to transfer that, and I'll have a slide coming up to talk a little bit more about that in depth. But then also, federal aid, that's the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. Anytime that you've completed that, just list CSU as a recipient school. That way we can see what you've been offered federally and we can stack that with your state or institutional aid. So some institutional aid on top of that merit-based scholarships that I listed there, students who have less than 18 credit hours that are transferring, you do still qualify for some freshman scholarships. So please note at the top there, if you have less than those 18 credit hours and you're transferring from another institution to us, you do still qualify for that freshman aid. And our transfer students, you can get up to $11,000 for the year. Anything needs-based, that'll be based off of FAFSA. And so we can look at your EFC for your FAFSA and apply an additional amount of scholarships that are totally needs-based. And then of course, if you're interested in athletics or music, the amounts of course will vary. But if you have a scholarship offered through those programs or those departments, the coaches, or if you're in music, the professors at our Horton School of Music will contact the enrollment counselor. That way we can know how much they're offering you and we can apply that to your aid. And then lastly, SLU. So students who are maybe taking a gap year, we do like to encourage this as well. If you've taken a gap year or you've only taken a few college credits and you're still interested in that SLU and you're a recent high school grad, please note if you're a recent high school grad, you do still get the opportunity to participate in SLU, and there's a minor upfront cost, but once you complete SLU and you come to CSU, you do get that $2,000 per year totally free. Now, some South Carolina aid. Now, the Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. If you have been awarded any of these scholarships when you graduated high school, these are the requirements that you'll need to maintain when you're transferring that state aid to CSU. So I do like to mention, if you're unsure, just take a look at when you graduated high school, count how many credit hours you've taken since then, and then of course, look at your GPA. And if you do still qualify, you can always go to the South Carolina Commission for Higher Education website in order to see what that will look like transferring it from your current institution to CSU. And I've listed the website there for you just in case. And of course, additional South Carolina aid, because we are a private institution, we don't get lottery money, but we do get the South Carolina tuition grant, and that supplements that difference. So this is only for students that are attending a private institution. So if you are a South Carolina resident and you've listed that whenever you filled out your FAFSA and you go through verification, you have up to $3,500 per year coming your way. And something for my future teachers, we do have a South Carolina teacher loan and fellows. That's up to $5,000 per year for the loan and $6,000 if you're a South Carolina teaching fellow. And lastly, the FAFSA. I know I mentioned it throughout the federal aid portion of our presentation today, but it really is important for you if you want to maximize how much aid you're going to get when you're transferring, because it is more affordable than I think people realize. You will want to complete that FAFSA.ed.gov, and it's always going to be available October 1st since you've graduated as a senior in high school. And if you've already filled out the FAFSA and you're wanting to come for a spring term, you don't have to recomplete it. It's already done for the year. Just be sure to list CSU as a recipient school. That way we can kind of pick up where you left off. And that's the end of my presentation. I want to leave space for anyone who might have questions at all. If you have anything that you are interested in talking about that I might not have mentioned, just let me know, and I'd love to kind of cover that. I'm going to leave a few moments for any questions. Alrighty. So we got a question putting the website back up. I will go back and let me just, here we are. All right, so I had a few links, but I just want to be sure to put this up. That is our application. And like I said, it is free online. Here we go. All right. And one more link that I did have up that I wanted to be sure to reiterate. If you wanted the information for the FAFSA website, that is fafsa.sc.ed. So anytime you have questions about that, be sure to log on there. Alrighty, so we have another question. Do we evaluate unofficial transcripts? We do. So anytime you're unsure of applying and you just want to see how many credits are going to transfer over, that's no problem at all. If you just reach out on the website, there will be a place where it says apply or contact us. And you can just type in your question there and say, hey, I'm interested in applying, but not quite sure how my credits are going to transfer. Just email us, and most likely I will respond, and I can get a copy of your unofficial transcript via email. You can send it in like a PDF if that's easiest, and then I'll go over to our registrar's office and we'll get an unofficial eval done. Usually it takes about 3 days or so, since we do have a high volume of students asking for those. So thank you for your patience in advance, but we can get that unofficial evaluation to you in about 3 days. Alrighty, are there any other questions at all? And of course, if you're not sure of your questions yet, please don't hesitate to go to charlestonsouthern.edu. That's the first portion of the link that I have on here. You can visit the website and type in your questions underneath the contact us button and send all of your questions whenever you have them there. Or you can feel free to call us at 843-863-7050. So anytime you have a question, don't hesitate to call and don't hesitate to email. Otherwise, if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to turn it back over to our StriveScan facilitator. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And of course, I hope you have a good afternoon.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you to our presenter, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, just a couple quick things before we end the webinar. There is going to be a quick 4-question survey when you close out this window, so we appreciate it if you fill that out. You can also, again, sign up for more sessions at CACRAO.org, CACRAO.org. This week and next week. And then this recording will be available in about a week on that same website. Thank you all again and hope you have a wonderful afternoon.